Hey guys, I'm Robert Ackerman. I'm your host, and this is Sports Bros. Today we're going to talk about my predictions for the AFC standings for the season. So we're going to start with the AFC East first. First, I have the Patriots going first, then the Dolphins, the Jets, then the Buffalo Bills. So we're going to start with the Patriots. To me, the Patriots, their over and under is 11. I say they're well over. To me, the Patriots are going to have a very slow start. They've added a lot of players, but they've also lost a lot of key players to their team last year. So to me, they're going to be like starting out very slow, and then they're just going to be building up all everyone's all negativity, saying, "Oh, why are they not doing as good?" Just like what they always do every year. It's nothing new. They did add Jeremy Hill to a good backfield. Adrian Claiborne, Devin McCourtney's brother. Cordell Patterson, Sheldon from the defensive tackle from the Cleveland Browns. They drafted a guy named Wynn, tackle. He's out for the year. He got injured. Sony Michel, a running back, also they drafted in the first round. We'll see how that goes. They've lost Danny Amendola, Deion Lewis, Nate Scholder, Malcolm Butler, and Brandon Cooks. A lot of key players to their team last year, but everyone has to realize about the New England Patriots. What happens every year? They'll get players and they'll get rid of players in a heartbeat. And doesn't mean that they're going to do worse or bad, but they always find a way to make it work. And I think that's what's going to happen this year. To me, they're the clear number one seed. We'll see how that goes. They're in a weaker conference in the NFC, so they have less competition to play, especially in a weak division. The next team is the Miami Dolphins. They're over under 6. I say they're over. I think they won about 8 games last year with Jay Cutler. They have added some good players. They've also lost. They lost Dominican Sue and Jarvis Landry, two big playmakers. They gave Tannehill back. They did add Danny Amendola, Johnson, the guard from the Chicago Bears. They traded for Robert Quinn, defensive end. They drafted Mika Fitzpatrick and got Mike Gesicki in the second round. Good tight end from Penn State. So we'll see how that works out. I still think they're going to be over 6 games. They'll probably win maybe at most 7, but still over 6. Then I got my New York Jets. They're over under was 6. I'm gonna say under. I don't want to say over because I just really don't think the Miami Dolphins are going to get over 7 games, and I don't think the Jets are really anyways either. To me, the Jets are going to start out good. Now they got Sam Darnold starting instead of Teddy Bridgewater. They're going to maybe win 2-3 games, first 5-6 games, and then they're going to have the hardest schedule. Darnold's going to struggle a little bit, but that's how it is. That's how you're going to learn as QB. They did add a lot of good players. They added Isaiah Crowell for a very friendly deal. Terrell Pryor, Avery Williamson from Tennessee Titans, Jermaine Johnson from the Rams, and of course they drafted Sam Darnold. They did lose Demario Davis, Austin Seferian-Jenkins, and Mo Wilkerson. But to me, look at the Jets. You see, they drafted a franchise quarterback, and they believe in him enough to start him. Now he's definitely going to struggle. No quarterback's perfect. You can't expect him to come in already be the next Tom Brady or something like that. He's going to have to grow and develop. He has a horrible offensive line, but he has a good group of receivers, I think. He has Robbie Anderson, Quincy Nunwa, and Jermaine Kearse. So we'll see how that works out. He has a decent backfield in Crowell and Powell. To me, like I said, their offensive line isn't that good. Their defense is much younger, but you also got to realize that next offseason they're going to have $100 million, the most cap space in football. They're definitely going to get some good free agents. Again, I think they're maybe going to win 5 games at least. Their highest to me is a 7-8, but I'm going to put it at 5 just because Sam Darnold's starting right away instead of like Josh McCown or let's say if they kept Teddy Bridgewater. Then I got the Buffalo Bills. Their over-under was 6.5. They're going to be under. I think they've really changed around their team a little bit, and I just don't see how they're even going to win games. I do not like Josh Allen one bit. Strong on quarterback, not good accuracy. I feel like he's going to be knocked around a lot. I think they made a mistake. They should have got Josh Rosen. Not saying they should have kept Tyrod Taylor. They didn't believe in Tyrod Taylor, even though he brought them to the playoffs based on Andy Dalton being the Ravens last year. But still, they added Trent Murphy, started Latulia from the Panthers. They drafted Josh Allen, and then also they got Edmonds, linebacker from Virginia Tech, who's going to be really good for them. They also lost Preston Brown, EJ Gaines, and Tyrod Taylor. see how that works out for them. But it's just also, I don't know what's going to happen with McCoy. He was alleged of domestic violence. I don't know if he's going to get suspended or not. And if he does, then that's bad for the Buffalo Bills. They got no other running backs, and their receiving core really isn't that great. Kelvin Benjamin they traded for, but he didn't really do that good last year. And I don't know, I just don't really believe in the Buffalo Bills. They're trying to build off of last year, I guess. I like Sean McDermott, but I just don't believe in their team at all. The next division I have is the AFC West. To me, I have the LA Chargers in first place. Over under 9. I think they're going to win 11, maybe 12 games. If it wasn't for last year, they lost 4 games on a fraction of a field goal. Meanwhile, they won 9 games. They were a very good team. They just didn't have a kicker. They didn't really lose anyway, but they did add Derwin James and Mike Pouncey to the offensive line. Derwin James is really good. Very good safety they drafted from Florida State. We'll see what happens with that. But then next one we have the Kansas City Chiefs. Over under 8.5. I say they're going to be over, win 9 to 10 games. I don't know what to expect from Patrick Mahomes, but the one thing I can say about the Kansas City Chiefs offense is that they still have Kareem Hunt coming off a great rookie year, being the league rusher. Then they also still have Travis Kelce coming back, and they already had Tyreek Hill. They added Sammy Watkins. They did get rid of Tama Hali and Derek Johnson, longtime players for them, but they also added Anthony Hitchens. And when they traded away Alex Smith, they got Kendall Fuller, a young cornerback. And they did get rid of Marcus Peters, but I didn't think they were going to re-sign him. He was a little mature. We'll see how he does in LA, but Kendall Fuller is a very good replacement for him. So then we have third place. We have the Denver Broncos. Their over-under was 7. I think they're going to be over. Probably win 8 games. You might think that's weird. They're in third place. I'm going to say they're over 8 games. I think it's going to be a tight division, the top 3, but I still think the Chargers are going to be really good. Again, it's the AFC. They're a very weak conference. There's going to be a lot of teams that are doing really good. A lot of teams are doing really bad to me. So then they added Case Keenum to be the quarterback for them. They had Velder, a tackle from Arizona. Bradley Chubb they drafted, and Royce Freeman, I think in the second round they drafted him. I think they're going to be a very good team. I mean, it's definitely Keenum's a definitely better upgrade than Paxton Lynch and Trevor Siemian. They did lose Aqib Talib, but now they're going to rely on Bradley Roby to be the first cornerback. Defense is going to be a lot better. Bradley Chubb's going to help out with their defense. Like a few years ago when they were so dominant, they had DeMarcus Ware and Von Miller on each side, and it was very dominant. Now they're going to get a younger player in Chubb. It's going to be pretty cool to watch. Then last place we have the Oakland Raiders. Now, to me, this is ridiculous. They didn't make the playoffs last year. They weren't that good, and they did add John Gruden. We'll see how that goes. But their over-under was 8 games. I think it's a little too high. It's definitely going to be an under. I cannot see them winning 8 games, especially now that they trade Khalil Mack. Big mistake, in my opinion, unless they're looking to rebuild their team. But if you look at it, they were just in the playoffs 2 years ago. If it wasn't for Derek Carr being injured, they probably could have made a nice playoff run, but he got injured. They did add Doug Martin, Jordy Nelson, an Asian Jordy Nelson, and Melvin, the cornerback from the Colts, Whitehead, the linebacker from the Detroit Lions, and they drafted Cole Miller in the first round. They did lose T.J. Carey, Michael Crabtree. Again, like I said, they traded away Khalil Mack. They lost Cordell Patterson, which isn't that much of a loss, though. Still put it there, though. Again, I don't know what was the whole thing with the Khalil Mack situation, whether they didn't want to be there or they just didn't want to pay him. They should have just paid him. He was the whole focal point of that whole defense. I mean, they struggled last year, but, they just got a little bit of an old defense. But we'll see how that goes. Next division is AFC North. I have it going Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Cincinnati, and Cleveland. Pittsburgh is going to be, over and under, over 10.5. I'm trying to change that now. I'm going to put over. I still think of them as a second, third place seed. But again, it's a weak conference, and I still feel like it's going to be competitive. They didn't really lose anybody, but they did add Morgan Burnett and Edmonds as safety in the first round, so they're definitely going to help out that weak secondary they had last year. They added Joe Hayden last year to go with Artie Burns, but also Mike Mitchell was the only real safety, and he wasn't that good of a safety, so we'll see how that goes. The reason why I don't really have him, I'm not going to probably have him over the Chargers of the Patriots now is just because of the Le'Veon Bell situation. I don't know when he's come back. The offensive line seems very mad at him about him not signing the extension, but I still think it's bold that the Pittsburgh Steelers aren't going to give him the extension. I don't disagree with the Steelers not giving the extension because running backs spans don't last as long. I don't know if he's going to be the running back that lasts over 8-9 years like Adrian Peterson, or if he's just going to be like a Terrell Davis like the last like a 4-year span. No one knows, but I wouldn't give him the money for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They franchised him in the second year. I don't agree with franchising players 2 years. I think that should only be allowed to franchise tag them 1 year. Anyways, I really think they might look to trade him. They have James Conner as their running back. They do believe in James Conner. They really do like him, so we'll see how that plays out. That's a good pickup for fantasy if anyone wants to know. I have him in about all my leagues but one, but we'll see. Second place, we have the Baltimore Ravens. Now, the Ravens just missed on the playoffs last year. Their over-under is 8. I say they're going to be over. Flacco's always played a lot better when he has a fire lit under his ass, basically, to me. Like in 2012 when he was in his contract year, he led his team to the Super Bowl. Not saying he's the only reason why they won the Super Bowl. They had a good defense still too, but still. They added John Brown and Michael Crabtree, make it a better receiving core for him. They also added Hayden Hurst and Mark Andrews they drafted later in the draft, so that's 2 tight ends. And then they added Lamar Jackson. It's also going to fire up Joe Flacco to me. They did lose Mike Wallace and Jansen, but I still think they're going to be a good team. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I think they're just going to miss it because they're like teams like Kansas City and Houston, but we'll see what happens. And then fourth place, we have the Cleveland Browns. Over and under was I skipped the team. Third place, I have the Cincinnati Bengals. Over and under was 7. I say they're over. Dalton's come back. Adrian Green's come back. Eifert's come back. Hopefully he's healthy. I really have him in all my fantasy teams. Hopefully he does good. They lost Jeremy Hill, which isn't that much of a loss. They still have Joe Mixon, who's going to be their full-time starter, and they have Gio Bernard. They added a linebacker named Brown and Billy Price for their first-round pick. They also traded for Gorgie Glenn, also in the offseason, I think it was. Trade him. It might have been later in the season. I don't know exactly. I know they did trade for Gorgie Glenn. They've been needing to try to fix their offensive line ever since they lost Whitworth to the Rams a few years back. So they have Glenn and they added Price. So I think they're going to be a good team. But again, I don't think they're better than Bank. They're not better than the Ravens or the Steelers. Over and under 7 over. Then last place I have the Browns. Over and under is 5.5. I say they're going to be over. They added a lot of players. They added T.J. Carey, E.J. Gaines to the cornerbacks. Carlos Hyde, Tyrod Taylor, Jarvis Landry, Baker Mayfield, and then they drafted Denzel Ward. They've definitely upgraded their secondary. I still feel like they maybe should have taken Bradley Chubb over Ward just because having a guy like Chubb with Myles Garrett would be pretty scary. Having a big pass rush like that now. Well, now the Denver Broncos have that with Miller and Chubb. They're not going to start Mayfield right away. They're going to start Taylor, but then they're going to ease into Mayfield's team. It's going to be Mayfield's team. They're going to probably win 6 games, in my opinion. They did lose Isaiah Crowell, McCourtney, the cornerback. He went to the Patriots, and then they also lost Shelton, who they also went to the Patriots. And then final division, I have the AFC South. I have the Jaguars 9.5 over for the over-under. They added Dante Moncrief, Austin Frank Jenkins, Andrew Norwell is a great pickup, and a guy named Brian, who's a defensive tackle from Florida, to help out that defense, which they didn't really need the help for, but it's good to get him. They did lose Colvin, the cornerback, and Allen Robinson. The thing about Allen Robinson was 2 years ago he was a great receiver. 3 years ago, and then he had a bad year, and then he came back on his contract year, and he tore his ACLs. I don't really think it was that much of a mistake getting rid of him. They still have like decent receivers. I still think they should have went for Kirk Cousins over Bortles, paid the extra $10 million. They had the cap space, but they're going to be the division leader, but maybe win only 10 games, maybe 9. We'll see what happens. Then I got the Houston Texans. Over under was 8.5. I say they're going to be over. They added Colvin and they added the Honey Badger. They're also getting Deshaun Watson back on offense, their best offensive player, probably their best offensive player, maybe Hopkins, probably the best. And then they're bringing back Watt, coming back from injury. Plus, they've helped out their secondary. They're going to be a team I think that's going to be coming out really, really well. We'll see what happens with them, but I think they're going to be the 6th seed. Then I got in 3rd place, I got the Indianapolis Colts over under 6.5. I said they're going to be over. They did add Eric Ebron and Quinn Nelson in the 1st round, which is going to be a great pick for the future to help out Andrew Luck. He's going to be an all-pro guard in this league, I feel like. They did lose Melvin, the cornerback, and Dante Moncrief. Not that big of a losses to me. The thing about the Colts is I just don't know how good they're actually going to be. I don't know how good Luck's actually going to be. They don't have a great defense. He's one of bad teams. And it's just I don't know if I don't think they're better than Houston or Jacksonville. Jacksonville's going to take a step back, but they're still going to make the playoffs. Probably win the division this year though. Then finally in 4th place I have the Tennessee Titans. Over under 8. They did decide to get rid of Mike Mularkey. They brought in Mike Vrabel, the defensive coach. One defensive coaches from New England. Oh no, sorry, not from New England, from Houston, defensive coordinator. They added Benny Logan, Deion Lewis, Malcolm Butler, and they drafted linebacker Evans from Alabama. They did lose Avery Williams, and they added some good players. I just don't really believe in the Titans, and I don't see them better than the other 3 teams in the league. In their conference, their division. I mean, we'll see what happens with that, but I don't see them winning over 8 games, maybe 6, 7. Maybe they might get the 8. I mean, who knows what's going to happen? Injuries could happen. I'm just not a big believer in Marcus Mariota. We'll see what happens. So what I have the Patriots first, then the Chargers, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Jaguars, the Chiefs, and then I got the Houston Texans. All right, guys, thank you for listening. Please like, comment, and subscribe.